What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Blockchain Future. I hope you guys are having a great day. Since it's Sunday, I thought I would go over um, some technical items in a little deeper detail. Specifically, I wanted to go over the Lightning Network and what problem it's trying to solve. I wasn't satisfied with some of the high-level flowcharts that I found online, so I made a few of my own, basically showing before and after the Lightning Network and how it helps solve the scalability issue. I am working off of this article that I found on Cointelegraph explaining what the Lightning Network is and how it works. I will link it in the description. But this article really goes really deep into the technicals of the Lightning Network and how the channels work. And I really wanted to show it from a higher level and the basic problems that it's trying to solve as far as scalability goes, and even kind of mention how other Bitcoin forks like Bitcoin Cash were trying to solve the same issues, but at a layer one level instead of what they're trying to do at layer two. So I'll start off by just kind of reading the beginning of this and then jump into the flowcharts to show you guys the basics of the Lightning Network and why it is an important step for making Bitcoin usable and scalable in the future. When Bitcoin was first proposed by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008, the very first public comment on the system made by James A. Donald contained the following line: "The way I understand your proposal, it does not seem to scale to the required size." 10 years later, scalability is still the biggest problem for Bitcoin as well as other veteran cryptocurrency systems. What exactly does scalability mean? Well, throughout its existence, Bitcoin has only been capable of processing around 7 transactions per second. While this was enough at the very beginning, the system has been congested for a few years now. As a result, transactions take a long time to process, and transaction fees are extraordinary. Um, so basically, exorbitant. My fault. So there have been a few things that have come out, things like SegWit, which have helped with the scalability issues in order to keep the transactions down. During the bull run of 2017, there was there was hundreds of thousands of transactions that were basically backed up waiting to be processed because of the 7 transaction per second limit. And during that time, that caused a lot of caused kind of a rift in the community, and that's when we saw the Bitcoin Cash split. And as you can see from this graphic here, you can see Visa, which is pretty much the standard for electronic payments around the world, can do 24,000 transactions per second. Obviously, that's not decentralized, and that's a centralized system, so it's a lot easier to achieve that. Then you have Bitcoin at 7 transactions per second, and then you have Bitcoin Cash at 61 transactions per second. The way that Bitcoin Cash wanted to move forward with increasing the throughput of these transactions was by increasing the block size and tweaking a few other things on the chain, which would allow it to do more transactions per second. Now, one of the issues with that is that obviously even 61 transactions per second isn't good enough, and a lot of the primary Bitcoin team, the kind of OGs of the Bitcoin world, didn't want to veer too far from the original white paper as far as the mechanics of how Bitcoin worked. So that caused that hard fork, and Bitcoin Cash was born. So in order to solve the scalability issues while still keeping Bitcoin true to form, so to speak, the Lightning Network was conceived. And what the Lightning Network is basically doing is it's trying to do parallel processing in a way. It's opening up channels and then horizontally scaling those payments, those transactions across those new channels. So you can see here, I created this simple chart showing just layer one, and then you have, I just have 5 clients here. Obviously, you can see the bottleneck being 7 transactions per second, and this is the root Bitcoin blockchain. So Bitcoin Cash basically, by modifying the block size, doing a few other tweaks, they were able to get this number up to 61. I believe they've done some other changes since that article was written and gotten the number up a bit higher. But in order to compete with payment systems like Visa and MasterCard and other systems, it really needs to get into the 25, 50,000, 100,000 transactions per second if it wants to be a payment provider in the future. Bitcoin right now is a great store of value, but it is not able to really be a value transfer tool because it's just not fast enough. So in order to solve this, instead of messing with layer one, which we have here, and trying to make this number, the 7 transactions per second, higher, what was done is that a layer 2 solution was created. So the 7 transactions per second limit was kept, and what they did is that they opened up these lightning channels, and pretty much unlimited channels can be opened. And instead of the clients interacting directly with the root Bitcoin blockchain at layer 1, it's actually interacting with the lightning nodes here on layer 2. Now, these lightning nodes, what happens is that they're pre-funded with Bitcoin beforehand. And when a payment is made, or somebody wants to make a payment, it then requests a node that's open, and then actually will use that node to make a payment. There's some arguments being made that the Lightning network is centralized and that it's not feasible, so to speak. But in essence, a lot of other cryptocurrencies are doing the same thing. They're scaling horizontally while not worrying about the layer 1 solution. So by creating these channels, and you can imagine, I just did a simple chart here with 5 clients, but you can imagine hundreds of thousands of clients, and then actually having thousands, 50,000 lightning nodes that these computers can actually interact with. Plus, if you dig deeper into this article, which I will link, it actually shows how these nodes can actually interact with each other as well. So it is really a peer-to-peer system that is a bit different than what we're used to with kind of directly interacting with layer 1. Another argument that's made is that because these clients are interacting with lightning nodes that are pre-funded with Bitcoin, every transaction that's made by these computers that are using the lightning nodes for payments are not recorded on the blockchain, on the root Bitcoin blockchain. The only transaction that's going to be recorded on this blockchain, on the root blockchain, is the funded amount that is sent to the lightning node. So that is another argument that you're not seeing all the transactions. It's not, the ledger doesn't have all the transactions that are being completed. But I actually, as the Lightning Network has matured, as it's been rolled out and been funded, a great site to go to is 1ml.com. So you can see here that there's 34,295 channels that are open. That's up 40%. There's 7,200 nodes up, and that's up 20%. And we're up to $3 million worth of Bitcoin, 774.59 Bitcoin that is loaded into the Lightning Network for purchases. So progress is being made on Lightning, and if you're interested, you can build out your own Lightning node. There is something called the Casa node. So the cost of node here it's $300, which is a bit expensive considering it's just a Raspberry Pi with a case and a hard drive. But what it does is it actually comes pre-synced, so you don't have to download the whole blockchain, the whole Bitcoin blockchain. And you do get paid for being a Lightning node, but it is a bit, it's not a whole lot. I mean, it's only a few Satoshis, I believe, for transactions. But if you're future thinking, and that's what we do here, we're future thinking, as this grows and when Lightning becomes a real payment provider, if you are a member of this network and you are assisting with being a payment processor, um, and please do your own research on that regarding any legal um, avenues that you may need to look into. But if you do this now and you build out a node, it could really help you in the future if you become an established node on that network. So you can see that the Lightning Network is really picking up steam. I mean, it's really, really accelerated in the last few months. It seems like every day the channel number is going up at least double digits, and the number of nodes is climbing at a fast pace. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys at a high level what the Lightning Network is and why it's needed. Basically, by keeping Bitcoin at the root blockchain layer, at layer one, as it was designed in the white paper, we can still have scalability at layer two by using the Lightning Network to horizontally scale the payments that are needed for a lot of smaller items. A lot of people are saying like coffee or just buying day-to-day items. So any questions, leave them in the comments and have a great day. Thanks.